G'day, freedom lovers. How are we? It's Friday night. It's 8 o'clock on the eastern coast. I don't know what time it is where you are, but it must be drink o'clock. I'm sure of it. So sips to all you out there, and a very special sips to my good friend Rachel, whose birthday it is today. So sips to Rachel. Cheers. Don't know if you're watching now or later, or if you're going to watch it all, but you know it's the thought that counts, I guess. Sorry, we're a little bit late. If you guys, anybody out there watches George's Wacky Wokeyverse thing, I wonder if you guys could help me out. At about 7:45, can everybody just bombard him with comments reminding him that 8 o'clock North Queensland Freedom Network starts? Because he seems to have a bit of trouble. I don't know. Maybe if somebody actually knows him, buy him a fucking watch. He seems to have a bit of trouble. So if you guys could help me out, that'd be really good. And I apologize for having to do this, but I'm kind of sick of having to mention it. It's getting frustrating. You know, people sitting there at 8 o'clock waiting to watch. And, you know, I'm watching his Oranges and whatever bloody song. Like it's become sort of an insult because he ends the show the same every week. And I'm watching the clock go over. 8 o'clock, yet we're past 8 o'clock. You're still going, man. Come on, dude. What's happening? And then he plays that song as if it's like the last little salt in the wound or something. It's probably not what he's intending to do, but it's what it feels like on this end because, you know, I want to get on with things. We've got people waiting. We've got guests here. You know, you couldn't imagine Channel 9 or Channel 10 running things like this. I can't imagine them running anything these days except out the door. But anyway, that's how it is. That's how it is. So anyway, I'd also like to point out that, you know, or remind everybody, I'll just quickly bring this up, of the Living Free Festival. Sadly, I won't be able to make it. I did give it a good crack, but unfortunately, I can't get the time off. Other people have got the time off at work. So that kind of makes it hard considering I'm going to have to drive all the way there. I needed a couple of days either side of the weekend to make it, but it is still on and it's still there. Best of luck to everybody who can make it. I'm highly envious of you. I really want to be there. But if you use the promo code BADDY, you can still use it. And hey, look, we've really got to plug this because I actually got a message from YouTube saying that I had a horrible link you know, in my last YouTube video. So I have to link it again just to say, fuck you to YouTube, because how dare you tell us that this is a horrible link? It's a living free festival. You've got fucking heavy metal artists out there, and I got no problem with it. I listen to half the shit promoting Satanism, but that's okay. You've got fucking rap artists on YouTube promoting guns and ammo and, you know, rape and whatever other horrible shit they can do, pimp nigger this and all that, you know, that's okay, that's all right. But the Living Free Festival is apparently offensive according to YouTube. It's a fucked up world we live in, isn't it? And sorry for the use of the illegal N-word. Am I allowed to say it? I mean, they can say it. Is it a free world or not? Apparently not, according to YouTube. The idea of living free, and particularly having a festival or a link to said festival, is a horrible thing to do. So fuck you, PooTube. And if you are watching this on PooTube, please jump over to Rumble. Like, seriously, the only reason I keep the YouTube channel open is to remind people there are better options. Seriously. Anyway, so yeah, jump over, use that link if you are keen to go down and meet some amazing people, some amazing speakers there. I'm really annoyed that I can't make it, but it is what it is, you know. Next week hasn't been sorted out yet, but on the 29th, we're going to have Kate Cameron's come in. We're going to talk about all the crazy, kooky, wacky shit. We're going to get the Atlantis stuff out. We're going to talk about, you know, is this a comet, or is it a spaceship coming to harvest our brains or some shit like that? Harvard scientists believe the interstellar comet could be an alien craft, but who knows? And the comet, of course, in question is Comet 31 Atlas. We're going to talk about that sort of stuff and heaps more, including a big question that's been put forth that in my mind is, why is this guy, you know, this Ross Coolheart, he's actually a dude from what was it, that 60 Minutes show that, you know, I don't know if it's still functioning, but it used to be on television. I know that. Apparently he's into UFOs now. Questions, anyone? Don't know if I trust it, but I'm curious to have a look at it anyway. So, because it certainly seems like they're pushing towards some sort of disclosure event. But anyway, we'll talk more about that on the 29th. Of course, I'm reaching out to our mayor at the moment, who's been kind enough to come onto the North Queensland Freedom Network in the past and got himself into trouble, of course, but he's said amazing things, and I still stand by him regardless of the mainstream media's desire to continuously attack him. But as we can see, you know, auditors have found that the Townsville City Council executive staffs have been paid over and above termination entitlements to the tunes of millions of dollars, while we've been slugged with even more rates as usual. Of course, you know, it's amazing to see that the Townsville Bulletin managed to get 345 people to partake in a voting scenario here, and 84% of those said, yeah, we believe the Townsville City Council should be cutting waste instead of raising the costs. By God, you know, the rest of us have got to make some cuts. Why can't you? There's piles and piles of horrible shit. Even the unions are kicking up at them. The Townsville City Council is under fire, regardless of how much the Townsville Bulletin tries to sugarcoat it. They'll do the articles, but let's face it, they're very nice. Good old Cameron, how you going, mate? Any more conspiracy theories about Troy Thompson being friggin' blackboard, you knob jockey? What an idiot. Anyway, have you seen Elbow? Beer tax, man, who gives a shit what he's got to say? Have a look at the comments. There is not one nice thing being said about Elbow. Absolutely everyone is getting right into him. I think it's worth watching Elbow's X channel just so you can read the comments. It's the only reason. Like, what he says is worthless, we know that, but the way the Australian people really feel about him. Like, I mean, come on, I turned Australia into a third world shithole. Does anyone disagree with that? By God, I highly recommend you go over to Elbow's Twitter page just so you can throw shit at him like everybody else. Oh, love this one. Weak as piss. That is exactly Elbow all over. So, but in amongst all that, I found it very fascinating that we are the third most highest paying people for, beer in a public place. Most everywhere else has restaurants. We just have pubs, because we're a classy mob here in Australia. That's how it rolls. Funny, as even more fun, the South Australia, is going out of their way to be the ultimate tyrant. So, Victoria and Queensland, I thought were really going hard at it, but it turns out South Australia is trying to really take the mantle of the most tyrannical by banning little fishy soy sauce packages. Look out, the Japanese are under fire. How dare they use little plastic containers for your soy sauce? I'm pissed off because I actually quite like these things. I like my sushi, and I like to know that I can get soy sauce in it. And a great movie. If you haven't seen Defending Your Life, go and have a look. We're having to chat about it with a friend of mine. But anyway, let's move along. What we're really here for is what you can find on Constitution Watch, which is the Solemn League and Covenant of the People and Community of Australia. And with that amazing 10-minute rant over and done with, let's bring in our good friend Jody. How you going, buddy?
Hey, mate. Wow, I thought I could roll, but that was pretty good. Good job.
Thank you. Appreciate it. It's always good to get good compliments from amazing fellow Australians who are also freedom fighting and amazing at ranting.
Can rant, that's for sure.
Well, birds of a feather flock together, and here we are, my friend. So, as I understand it, you are back on the march due to popular demand. Man, you want to fill us in a little bit on what's going on there, buddy?
Yeah. Oh well. For those that didn't know, we earlier in the year we did our only a couple of months ago we did our Cairns to Canberra parade. The intent was to raise as much awareness as we could for Dr. Beverly Pears's High Court case. She'd been awarded costs in the lower courts. She was allowed to appeal, and so she'd been awarded costs against her. She needed about $60,000. So I picked that up. I was actually just. I reached out to Jackie Dundee, never met her before or talked to her before. I reached out to her to tell her the link wasn't working. It was getting blocked for the GoFundMe. We had a chat because I'd seen Jackie's work. We had a chat. She said the covenant was super important as well. And so was the funds. And I said, well, everybody's calling for, thank you. Everybody's calling for unity at the moment. I'm sitting around jobless. Life gives you lemons, make lemonade. So I said, how about, we go for a run on the road, try and raise awareness, hand out some flyers. And that I said, because we want to give everyone the opportunity. Everyone wants to yell at me and tell me that one way is the only way. And Jackie's not the yeller, but she definitely thinks that the Constitution is the one way and the only way. So I said, okay, let's follow all the last of the paths that we can to prove that they're not interested in any of your lawful, paperwork, your historic paperwork. And she said, cool. So we did that, went all the way down to Canberra. It was fantastic. Thousands of people took the time to come out and meet us on the road. A couple hundred cars at different times, were in and out taking part. We raised $22,000 for the Dr. Beverly's GoFundMe. We got thousands and thousands of copies of the covenant signed. We had anywhere from 3 to 4 different types of groups at each stop, coexisting, helping each other, collaborating, working with each other. TASA put on 3 of the places down there. Living Council took part. Warrior at Law chipped in some cash. TASA, the Mookie from TASA actually went from the top all the way down the bottom. Donna and Pete from Cairns to Canberra all the way down from the corruption whistleblower. They went with us the entire way. We ran a grand jury indictment at Canberra at Magna Carta Place when we got down there. So she was pretty full on, right? She was a pretty eventful sort of a trip. Everyone got in and go. We had common law sheriffs join us at different stages, giving out information. The Light newspaper was included. Just shit tons of good people. So happy, so much love, so much good feeling, just chipping in and looking for remedy. And so most of the stickers for the FUCCP group, which is for people that didn't understand that, the FUCCP, meaning it was a piss take at the communist regime that we can see sort of rolling in through Penny Wong and Albanese. So we had so many flyers, so many banners, so many things, and so many people telling us that they were upset they missed it. We went too fast. We didn't go past their place. We didn't do all the things that the grandstand players tell us to do. So we said, beautiful. We'll change it now from Cairns to Canberra to Coast and Country. So FUCCP remained, all of the merch and the flyers remained, and we just changed it to Freedom Unites Coast and Country parades. So now we're down to the nitty gritty, sort of the localized places, getting some blood flowing back through the ment, is what I call it, because it doesn't move that often these days. So that's what I'm working on at the moment in the background.
No worries. So this is the new version of the flyer. So Freedom Unites Coast and Country parades on September 6th and 7th. So I'm guessing by the way this is laid out that it's going to be a little bit different to the last one. It's not going to be so much of a start at one point, parade all the way down to Canberra. It seems to be set out more as little events that everybody can set up based on the same principle of knowledge in any place around the country, correct?
Yeah, the biggest thing for us is that we support probably 9 or 10 groups that offer a lot of information and remedy. It's really, it's really about giving the people, the groups that are out there, the opportunity to use the leverage that we have. We've only got 10,000 in the FUCCP group, but I do reasonably well for viewership through Facebook, and so we just offer. I mean, you're doing it through Cafe Lockout, right? I mean, that's what Cafe Lockout's doing with you guys, offering the group leverage to have everybody heard. Well,
yeah, it's just bringing more like-minded people together.
That's right, and so I've got good leverage on Facebook for whatever reason, and so I reached out to all of those groups. So it's about making sure that, and it was mostly about the political sense, right? We picked up an extra 3 million people that allegedly didn't vote in the last election. That's an extra 1.3 on what it was in 2022. There's a lot of gatekeepers out there in the movement that like to keep people standing still so that they can sort of tell them fearful things and not educate them or learn or anything. Nothing different. So I said, let's get out on the road and get these people into these remedy groups that are trying to learn and understand. And one of the things I did, like they put a lot of people on the spot, was we've been in this battle for 5 years, and for the first 3.5 years, I had no idea any of the things that I know now. I'm still such a green little, I get called, was old mate call me a little baby today. He's like, little baby. I don't know anything. I'm a little baby, but he's right. I don't. And I didn't. 3.5 years into it, I'm standing around waffling whatever the mainstream social media told me to talk about. And I realized I was being led by my nose in a lot of ways. And so on the way down, I started saying to the people, we're here for the Constitution. It's 125th anniversary of our Constitution. And they're like, yes. And I said, and we're here because we don't think the politicians are supporting it. Yes, that's correct. And I'm like, we're upset about that, aren't we? Yes, we are. And we're signing this covenant to stick it to them because we know that they know that there's something wrong with the Constitution. They say, yes. And I'd say, you, sir, in the crowd, the most vocal of the yeses. Tell me what part of the Constitution you're most upset with. Not being overlooked. And he'd go, and he'd go, fuck. And I'd go, yeah. What about you, ma'am? And we did it in jest the whole way down. And I said, we don't know what we don't know. I'm an idiot. I know a couple of numbers. That's it. Darren Dixon and them, they laugh at me for even speaking out loud that I'm talking constitutional numbers because I'm such an idiot with knowing my constitution. What I'm trying to prove to people is that we don't know anything. We haven't learned anything because we're stuck watching. We know more about the amendments in America than what we do. We know more about the Bill of Rights in America than we do about our own rules. We know more about the Rothschild Rockefellers. We know more about the history of the Rothschild Rockefellers than we do about who our own first president, who our own first prime minister was. It
is a sad reality. That just
it is right.
How poorly educated we are, but at least we're taking that on board and starting to learn where we can, and especially with the help of people like Darren and Daryl and Jackie, and Heidi's doing some great work as well. The people that have all come on the North Queensland Freedom Networks to show what can be done by putting a little bit of effort and research into it. It's got to start somewhere, and the Constitution is a good place to start, I think.
Well, it's the only thing that we technically would have an umbrella over the whole top of the country if we were to, we don't, instead of throwing the baby out with the bathwater, we spend more time arguing over how we're going to rebuild the war-torn country after the war than realizing we've probably got to win the war first. Otherwise, we don't get a say on how it's rebuilt.
Yeah, exactly. The winner tells the story on this one.
That's, people in Palestine standing around, 2 engineers in the middle of Palestine standing around with each other saying, I think we'll build the new school over here, and the bombs are still going off. It's like, no point yet. Yeah, Israel's still bombing you. So, just, get some cover or fight back or leave, whatever it is. But, you can't plan that yet. We've got to focus on winning, and that's what this country needs to do. I mean, so anyway, that was it, right? I just wanted to keep a little bit of leverage on there. Cool. So, we got lots of signatures. We raised lots of money. I was on 2 days ago, I think it was. The Jackie had Dr. Beverly on. She just gave us all a shout out and a thank you. Yeah. Oh, there you go.
Anybody wants to see that? Jackie sent me the link to it in preparation, knowing that you were probably going to say it. So Jackie sent me the link here. I'm posting it in the comments for people who want to get a hold of that. And if you're on one of those platforms where you can't get a hold of that link and it's a bit of a pain, just go over to North Queensland Freedom Network on Telegram. I'm about to drop it in there too for you, so you can go and have a look. But yeah, it was good to see the good doctor jump in and say a bit of a thanks for you here. In her latest video that's been posted. So yeah, awesome work, man.
Yeah, that's what I said. Most of the way down, we were getting cheered on like we were rock stars, and I'd pull up and say, "Hey, we're just driving around in a car. Like, you guys are organising all this. I'm trying to breathe life back into you to make you realise that, the standing around talking to each other didn't work. We need remedy, and we need to learn." Nobody's come to save us. We've been in this for 5 years. It went pretty quick. I said, if you click your fingers and had the 5 years went again as quick as the last 5 years went, you're at 2030. And what do we know is at 2030, right?
The next agenda, I believe.
But yeah, it's going to be a tough 5 years, right? And we just don't have the time to wait anymore. I don't want a world of people living in fear, but you don't fear that which you know, right? You can hear the noise in the dark, turn the light on, know what it is, and the noise is still there when you turn the light off, but you don't fear it anymore. You're just aware what it is, right? Yeah.
Oh, it's a bit like standing there at the ocean there. The tide's going out, the tide's coming in. You plocked yourself at a nice fishing spot. You got your rod in the water. You can see the water's coming. Are you going to wait to move your chair, or are you going to move it now? It's up to you. Sooner or later, you're going to have to move your chair because that tide's coming in. And we know the tide's coming in. We know something's going to happen. Exactly what and when and how, well, it's anyone's guess. It's my first time at the beach. I haven't watched the ocean roll in, for instance, to give it a bit of an analogical, that's not even a word, but, you know what I mean? That word that I can't find,
You're trying to mix analytical with an analogy.
Thank you. That's where I was going wrong, and I got my knickers in a knot. There we go. New word for the day. You've seen it here first.
Analogy.
That's it. Brand new word. We're inventing them as we go. We might even add it to the Constitution in some way when we win the war.
When we win the war, that's it. And
that's it. It's a when. It's not an if. It's a when. I think in a lot of cases we've already won it. It's the people power is there. But I mean, on that note, though, we had a bit of a yarn about a few different things today, and one of those things is, you got your event coming up, which is, as you were saying, most of us who have tried to do things have encountered that invisible barrier. It's kind of like the YouTube algorithm that just won't let you go any further because you're not selling Satanism in a heavy metal crowd, or you're not selling drugs and guns to underage kids in a rap band. That stuff goes viral. But when you're trying to help the general community and stand against the system, YouTube puts up that barrier. But we've seen recently.
You can pour milk all over your tits.
Yeah, exactly. And we can call it pop music.
Milk money, Fergie, milk money, pour milk all over your tits, shake your booty, and read the Constitution.
As long as you got a cornflake over your nipples, it's all right. But here we have on the 31st of August coming up, there's this big Australia thing happening. And the first question I said is, well, who's setting this up? Where's this coming from? It's being spread like wildfire. It's amazing how well it's going off. But again, bring your flag, do your flag. And as we were discussing, the first thing I thought of is Cronulla. And, during that time, I was in Victoria, nowhere near fucking Cronulla. But my old Ericsson, long before Facebook, long before I'd signed up to any of these social media accounts, got a message saying, meet at Cronulla and bring your Aussie flag. What the fuck? I had no idea what it was until all of a sudden, shit blew up and you've seen it on the news. And then I get around later over the next few weeks, start talking to people, and people are going, hey, did you get that message? Yeah, I did too. It's like, who has access to that information? Why is it young white males at that time were getting text messages all around the country saying to go and meet at Cronulla and bring an Aussie flag? Who has that information? There was only Optus and Telstra at the time. Personally, I was with Optus at that particular time, you know. So other mate that I spoke to was with Telstra. So both those phone records and the information that allowed them to deduce that this is a young white male, they were able to get those text messages out. It was very, very interesting and leads to a lot of questions. Who could have done that? Why? And I can't help but feel that this is happening again because I still haven't been able to figure out who it is. But I did note that Monica Schmidt posted today because, you know, as I was saying, I was going to try and do a little bit of research and see if we can figure out who the hell done it. And she's come out with this post, which I'll just quickly bring up so we can all see what we're talking about here and that I didn't just make this shit up. She's posted this particular thing here where, you know, from a Tom Sewell Uncensored, White Australia and the NSN Vanguard. And there's a lovely word, Vanguard, for those of us who have done our research. We know them as one of those investment firms, have successfully completed the Winter National Summit. After only just arriving home from our summit today, I have been informed that foreign fifth columns are attempting to hijack our August 31st public rally for Australia. Australians must say no to Israeli, Palestine, Chinese and Indian foreign interference trying to hijack our common sense patriotic spirit. White Australians must assemble on August 31st against the traitors and foreigners who are trying to destroy our great nation. Now, of course, she wasn't exactly thrilled about that particular thing, as I'm sure most of us who don't want to be branded as some sort of a Nazi, lunatic, white supremacist don't really want to be associated with that because it's about all of us coming together. You know, doesn't matter what color you are, the government is the problem. You know, it's not, and I think you were saying it earlier, it's not the people receiving the handout, it's the people who are handing it out. They're stealing from us to give to them and then trying to make us hate each other as a result. Let's have a look at who's the instigator of this fight. You know, and Monica Smith's gone the 31st of August is ruined. It had a great potential, but something went wrong, whether it was planned by extremists or hijacked by extremists. It doesn't matter which order. When the leader of the Nazis, or at least a white supremacist group, claims it as his event, there's no coming back from there. Direct your anger at him for ruining it, not me and others who are risking backlash to tell you the truth. I told you what I knew, so you were well informed before attending. If you want to march behind these masked extremists, go for it. That's your choice, but I won't stand by and say nothing just to appease the mob. I'll risk being trolled and tell you the truth. I know, if you know me, you know I'd never get in the way of a meaningful protest with potential. If you want to stop mass immigration, focus your energy on replacing the leaders who are making, obviously I didn't get the rest of that, sorry, my bad. Making the problem, I'll paraphrase at this point, you know. So, and, you know, it's interesting. I found that not long after we were having the discussion about something's not right here. I wouldn't mind betting, well, if I was a totalitarian dictator hell-bent on controlling people, turning this into a white supremacist rally and lumbering, you know, the freedom movement in with it, manages to solve a hell of a lot of problems all in one hit. And we can actually target the let's crack down on protesting without targeting our good friends in the Muslim community who voted for us, that says Elbow.
Yeah. So this is the guy here. So this profile, you won't be able to see
close
probably,
enough.
but
Just a little bit, yeah, and up a bit, up a bit.
Can't see because I'm in front of myself now.
Yeah, it's blowing it out.
There you go.
Oh, I can see the flags, but if you can bring it up just a touch. Up a bit, mate. Like, move your phone up. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's not giving us a name.
Yeah,
but anyway,
the auto colors coming. Anyway, look, it's irrelevant, right? So a couple of weeks ago, I was listening. I saw the hype, right? So I'm hyper connected to the social media. I live on it all day, every day. I'm usually reasonably aware of what's going on because I get sent 100 messages a day. So if I get 3 or 4 in a row, I know something is trending, so I understand trends, so I look at it. I did some hunting, found some dude that was sort of half claiming it was his. I put some pressure on him in the back of TikTok, and he said, "Oh, I don't need to point fingers at me. I'm just helping this guy do it." And I said, "Which guy?" And he went to it. I went to the young kid and asked him, supposedly a young kid. Now this platform. So this is my conspiracy, right? Because I'm the critical thinker. This platform has now got 12 videos on it. When I went to him, he had 1 video on it, but he had 6,000 followers with 1 video, and it wasn't the video that went viral. So what I said to Beck, so Beck Freedom came out and said that she's the one that's taken it over from this kid, right? When I talked to Beck, I said, "Beck, did you ever consider how does a kid with no videos, with 1 video, like only 1 video, and it went viral all around the world?" I said, like all around the country, right? I said, how do you think that sort of stuff happens? She's like, "I made it go big across Facebooks and all that sort of stuff." I said, "Beck, you can't make anything go big. None of us can. None of us can, right? A million views is the most I've ever had on a video, a bit over 1 million I've ever had on a video, and I've got 60-odd thousand followers, and I've got 700 videos. So that's 1 kid, no videos on TikTok, with just a picture of Australian flag sort of stuff. I said, this is what 101 infiltration looks like. This is what 101 by design looks like. They pay the companies to make the algorithm be expanded and push it out there to everywhere they can. And all they needed was someone to pick it up, and they hoped for someone like you, Beck, who, you're the perfect opportunity for it, because you've sided with these white national type people. She's like, "But I'm not part of them, not one of them." I said, "It doesn't matter. This is how psyops work. Pick a side, and then you're instantly everything that is that side, and everybody will instantly pick the other side and go against you, right?" So, I said, that's just the way that it is. So, and she said, "Well, what do you think? What questions have you got?" I don't have any questions. I said, Freedom Unite's Cairns to Canberra parade was supposed to be the following week. The first thing I went out and said to everyone was, "It sucks, but all of you have told me in the city that you haven't been able to raise anybody to come together to have a barbecue where you could get 20 or 30 people and hand out the flyers with all the remedies. Somebody just did it for you." And they were like, "Oh." I said, so all those people out there in the cities that were like, "Oh, God, I'm so disappointed. Oh, we're not going to be able to have an event. Oh, God, we can't, what can we do?" Rah, rah, rah. I said, someone just did the work for you. Perfect. Grab it. Pick up the flyers, print 1,000 flyers, go into where the rally is, and hand out those flyers. So when they get to wherever the end of the walk is with their blue flag, and they're standing around going, "Now what do we do? We're still upset. We haven't done anything." Then you'll be able to say, "Cool, here's some flyers. Let's fast forward you 3 years of the awakening since COVID, from all of the bitching and fighting and rumble videos and all of the shit that goes on. Let's try and help you jump that 3 years and get you to the point where you can jump in with the Commonwealth custodians, you can jump in with the Know Your Rights group, the Aussies Feed and Fines, the Warriors at Law, the Executive Life Orders, the Lip Form, Live in Private, the TASA movements, the common law sheriffs, anybody, right? You can jump in with any of these groups that are actively teaching and learning how to push back against the system, right? Just start removing your consent. You can't just keep complaining about it. I mean, petition by design is a slave's document, right? I talked today about, imagine hiring the pool cleaner, Pablo the pool cleaner. You own a pool, hire Pablo the pool cleaner, and then ask Pablo if he would. And you go for a swim, and the pool's not clean, and you've got to send Pablo a letter saying, "Pablo, can you please clean the pool before I go for a swim?" and that's what we're doing at the moment with petitions, right? We own the pool, right? We wrote the document that contracted Pablo to be the cleaner of the pool. Pablo is the cleaner of the pool. Yes, we are the user of the pool, but we were designed up here above the Constitution to make sure that the people that maintain the pool, for us to enjoy as the beneficiaries of the pool, do their fucking job. Yep. And so I don't want to fill out paperwork that they give us permission through an act, which is 3 layers below that Constitution. I don't want to fill out a form, right?
Yep.
Yes, Harps. Harps 3 LM said Pablo should be sacked. Pablo should be sacked. I'm sorry, Pablo. You know, you're lucky you're not in Donald Trump's land. He would have already put you back across the border, pad boy. But but you know, it's by design, right? And Beck might have got herself involved in it. I said, Beck, you made a really bad decision trying to not put a name to it, right? I said that's a bad decision because the government tells the truth up to here, and somewhere about here, the big business takes the money, and there's always that gap in there, and that's where conspiracies grow. I used to say all the time, you don't want the conspiracies to get too big. Close the gap of where the information's available to us, so that you can't even really fantasize too big of a story in there. She left it this wide, and everybody did what the government wanted them to do, which was fabricate, take over, pretend like they're in charge, throw division and confusion into the wind, and it's achieved exactly what they wanted to do. But for me, well, I'm hoping that we'll give, 3,000 or 4,000 flyers out that we will probably would have been likely to give 100 flyers out to the Freedom Unites rally because it was never going to trend. So instead now all of the people that want to go along can go along.
Yeah. Well, I mean, at the end of the day, if people are thinking of going along, make sure you got your cameras ready to film everything. Check everything. As soon as you see people trying to incite violence, ask them why. Get them on film. Let's find out, because there's going to be pieces of shit in there trying to start this, start a fight. They'll probably be wearing masks or some shit like that, because let's face it, we never really did that. The whole thing against the COVID movement was to not wear a mask. I'm happy to be identified. We're here on a public platform, hundreds of people watching us live right now, thousands by tomorrow, no doubt. I'm not hiding anything. I know exactly our opinions are right out here. We're telling everybody what we think. And I think obviously everybody who's watching agrees with this. So we probably wouldn't be here. I'm surprised there haven't been trolls. I guess most of them have got sick of me thanking them for coming to live under my beautiful bridge. But,
we talked about that today, didn't we?
Yeah, the power of trolls.
Public service budget cuts have even worked their way down the trolls because even they're not the quality they used to be.
No, don't get any good trolls anymore. Not like the old days. We had better trolls in my day.
Yeah, back in my day, the trolls used to really care about their job. Now they just call me a fuckwit.
That's it. They used to come with facts, information. Now they just come with a bag of leftist insults.
Yeah, that's right.
Racist.
Insert political name here. Anti-vax.
Yeah, that's it. Which side are we on this week? Are we on Israel's side or Palestine's side? I don't know. We're calling them Zionists or we're calling them terrorists. Which one are they? I don't know. I'm confused.
Well, that was I got called a white supremacist yesterday because I've been talking just as much shit about immigration, but I said it's not about immigrants; it's about immigration, right? It doesn't necessarily. I mean, yeah, there's probably a massive problem with this with a couple of races down there, and I'll name a couple that people talk about regularly, which is Nigerians, Africans or Somalians or whatever, swinging. But they weren't the people that showed up at the $325,000 bloody
resident trolls.
Yeah. So, they weren't the people that showed up at the $325,000 bins to hand in their machetes. That was not what was going to happen, right? I mean, Jack's Law is just another step towards patting every single person down the street and doing it with a racist intent. When I had the pub up in North Queensland, up in Ingham, they told me that I had to ask anybody that looked like they might be from Palm Island for special ID because of the alcohol laws over in Palm Island. I'm like, fuck off. I'm not going to ask every black fella that walks in here for special ID just because he's a black fella.
Yeah.
Like, fuck off, do your own job. Like, it's not my job. I don't live on Palm Island. I live on fucking the mainland. Like, if black fella wants to come in and buy alcohol, he can buy what he fucking likes. I'm not going to.
I said, are we all equal or are we not?
That's but that was it, right? They're always been trying to do that, right? And like, if you were going to go to the markets and like this whole white supremacy thing, right? Again, that's another ploy, that just is another psyop at igniting a fire. Look at the Palestinian rally was put together very quickly, very simply. Nobody fucking arguing about it. The Palestinian people fucking end up with 100,000 people walking across the bridge peacefully. The most exciting thing that happened was in the Melbourne one, not the Sydney one. In the Melbourne one, 2 hours after the event was finished, two people with a mask lit a blue flag up, and everybody talked about that for a fucking week. You know, and I don't want the blue flag burnt, even though I won't fly it. I don't want anything to do with the corporate flag anymore. I don't want anybody to have the symbology that getting away with that is okay. But I also need people to understand that it wasn't in the and people will say, oh, there was stuff happened in the middle of this crowd. Well, if you're there for fucking Australia, and then you don't have to worry about fucking waiting for the police to come and mop your shit up, because that's how we got where we are in the first place. Is that, you know, when people talk shit about me, and, you know, friends will come to me and say, oh, such and such was talking shit about you, and I say, it's not that they were talking shit about me, it's why would they feel comfortable to talk shit about me in front of you? Right? And that's the same thing about a rally. Like, it's not that people would be willing to do stupid shit, but why do they feel comfortable doing it in front of 1,000 patriots? Shouldn't that be the last fucking place you'd be wanting to pull out a flag and burn it? Like, you know, fucking, you do that in the 80s, and you get the shit punched out of you long before any copper showed up in his old fucking Falcon wagon with his fucking, you know, donut pack. Like, and so I'm not asking for violence. What I'm saying is, it's also staged, it's also predictable, and there's no fear involved in it anymore with it. So, you know, we got to wait for the police. You know, we're out there protesting against the policy officers and the establishment, but we wait for the police to sort out the problem when they get there. Fucking, like, you want them or not want them?
Yeah, it's always the way. I remember a friend of mine, you know, received a phone call a long time ago. Somebody had threatened him. You know, and they called the cops. Hey, so-and-so's threatened me. They say they're on their way. Oh, yeah, no worries. Let us know when they get there. We can't do anything until such a time. I could be fucking dead by then. What? Old mate was absolutely, you know, he ended up calling me up and going, man, can you come around with a couple of blokes just in case? Because, like, the cops ain't going to come. I'm like, yep, no worries. We'll pop around there, you know. Thankfully, nothing came of it. But, you know, at the end of the day, you know, shouldn't you be there to prevent the scenario before? You know, no, we've got to wait till you actually get stabbed and murdered, then we can come and investigate. So, you know, any wonder people are losing faith in the system.
Well, I sacked a bloke, and he was off his head. Reckoned he was gonna come around. He had a gun. I know he had a gun. I heard him cock his gun. He was gonna come around and shoot me. I didn't know. I didn't think he was in town, but my kids were like, Dad, what if he is in town? And I'm like, fucking, what am I going to do about it? And they're like, well, at least put your fucking car under the house, like, to make sure it made a lot look like your own. And then they start freaking out. My daughter's elder girl in their teens, and I was like, oh, for fuck, righto, whatever. So they said, ring the cops, Dad. And I'm like, okay, ring the cops. And they said, okay, we'll come around and take a statement or whatever. And 3 hours later, 3 of them showed up. And this is a small town of about 7,000 people, right? And well, that time I've had another 10 beers, and I give them a mouthful. I end up nearly getting the one and get locked up. My wife ends up tearing me off because I'm like,
yeah, that sounds about right.
I said, you lazy fucks. There's 3 of you riding around in one car. I said, I had to ring 000 for a matter that wasn't fucking 000 worthy. I said, but there was nobody that answered the fucking phone call at the station. I said, so you tie up an emergency services line because one of you 3 can't stay back at the station and answer normal calls, and then you take 3 hours to get around there. You know, so, you know, come on, be real. And then they started, you know, getting heavy on me about it, saying, rah, rah. And I said, I don't give a flying fuck, mate. I said, do what you got to do. And my wife's like, okay, yeah, he's had enough. He's just upset. Rah, rah, rah. I'd already talked to the guy by then, right? I'd called him back, talked him off shooting himself in the head, listened to his baby crawl in, crying around his legs, and he'd forgotten he was that high that he forgot that he had the baby with him, right? So I'd done the mental health counselling, got him to go and get the baby to someone that could look after them and all that sort of shit. Then the coppers showed up, and I'm like, fuck you, coppers. That's ridiculous. Like, madness. But anyway, the life of small towns, right?
Yeah, definitely. Well, let's come back just a little bit. Courage is a cure. G'day, Robin. How you going? Said this, and a few other people have pointed out too. There's a Four Corners story on Monday. So I had a quick squiz, and sure enough, lawfare, you know, and, you know, they're clearly from the imagery, you know, somebody's holding the Constitution, you know, and people standing up for themselves. And, you know, there's the flag. So they're setting the stage. You can see they are setting a stage here, you know.
Good timing, hey?
Yeah, it's clockwork. It's clockwork. And, the last couple of weeks are going, who the hell set this 31st thing up? What's the go behind it? Because all it says is rally and bring your flag. It doesn't tell you what it's about. It doesn't tell you who's organized it, what the intention is. It just looks sus from the word go. And, yep, with a little bit of patience, it's almost like they couldn't help it. They had to jump the gun, and they're telling us now before the event happens what this is really about.
And
it's a trap. It's Admiral Akbar. It's a trap.
Side note: have you seen the first 2 episodes of the new South Park series? Just recent?
No, I actually haven't watched South Park since Chicken and the Cow, man.
Nor have I, man. But I just happened, it popped up on my screen the other day, so I watched. I was like, holy fuck, holy! They've gone up a level for. They've gone up a level for abuse, man. Holy,
wow,
that is wild. Yeah. Anyway, side note. Yeah. So good timing, right? They're gonna release the hit piece on us. Just in time for a week or two. 24th is also another full round of 20 or 30 Palestinian protests as well. All right. So the week before again, so they've squeezed in another Palestinian rally. So they're gonna. ABC and all of them are going to run this big hit piece. So, side fact, they started talking to me. ABC was ringing me when I was on the road, asking if they could come to do an interview with us, and I said, "No, sorry, I'm busy doing this rally for a couple of weeks." And they're like, "Oh, well, can we meet you at Singleton and do a piece down there about the FUCCP stuff?" And I was like, first of all, I said to the lady, mate, I don't know where you got my name or my number from, but you probably need to at least just go and watch a few of my Jody from the Bush videos on TikTok, because you wouldn't want to fucking hang your career on talking to a volatile person like me with what I say, right? So I'm giving you a polite way to step out, and say I'm not the person to fucking interview.
Here's your exit card. Last chance.
That's right. And she says, no, we understand that, you've been fighting this for a long time, and we want to hear the feeling of the people. The people's feelings are rising, blah, blah, blah. And so I said, look, and honestly, if you want to know what the fundamental principles of what's wrong with this country is, the government and the fucking mainstream media. Yep. I said, so you are literally working for one of the most toxic fucking media presentation fucking people in this country that is paid for by the taxpayer. And I said, if you could answer me a whole list of these, where were you when people were shot with rubber bullets? Where were you when people were hit with LRADs? Where were you when fucking old people were sprayed in the face with fucking pepper mace for a peaceful protest? I said, where were you when people were run down with horses in the fucking park, running around screaming and shit like that? I said, where were you to report on real Australian news when that shit was happening, right? I said, you weren't there. You weren't there for the people. You weren't there in a neutral position. You used the taxpayers' money to push the propaganda of the fucking system. And I said, and so for that reason alone, I'm not interested. Side note, someone sent me this video today, which was an ABC. This is what I said to the ABC presenter, a video that said, shut the fuck up and don't start a podcast. It was an advertising campaign run in 2021 by the ABC, verified to me by Jason Miles, who, pretty legit source, ran for the federal and state.
Yeah, great Australia party.
He saw it in real time. And so I sent it to her and said, what does the ABC now want to have a conversation with me? Because if I had to listen to you and shut the fuck up and not started a podcast, I wouldn't be the relative that I am today, talking about what I, have learnt from all of the people that you told me not to fucking listen to. Peter McCullough, Robert Malone, Dr. John Abramson, fucking Professor Ian Brighthope, all of these people that mean so much to me for the education information that I've got. And so, and she came back with some sort of wishy-washy, it's okay. And Johnny Q from Hood Law, he's on it. He took the offer, and he did a full 40. He thinks he's getting a full 45-minute expose on it. And I've sent him a message and said, "Man, I said, what the fuck are you doing? Like, don't give them oxygen." And he's like, "Well, it's our opportunity to show that we're not all cooked fuckwits and rah rah rah." And I said, "Fair enough, man." But my last statement after my last thing was, I said, if you want to attend Singleton for the rally, come as an Aussie, and you're welcome. Come as a part of the ABC, and you're not welcome. And I said, but if you want to get good views and good viewership, then maybe come on my channel and have a chat, because we are the new fucking mainstream media, and you are irrelevant in the future of this fucking country. Like,
That's it.
Fuck you.
There are more people watching the North Queensland Freedom Network right now than there were people voting on the North Queensland North Queensland only newspaper that article that I showed at the beginning. So you can see they're not happy, and especially after they tried to do a couple of hit jobs on me, and I turned around and thanked them very kindly for all the promotion that they've given me, free advertising. Told them how that my views have gone through the roof thanks to everything they've done. They're helping me. Please keep going. What other bullshit do you want to conjure up? You're just making yourselves look stupid and you're promoting my channel. Thank you. Keep going, please. Haven't heard much from them recently.
No, that's right. They end up putting, they do the same thing, right? They give you oxygen, and it works against them because the people are out there simmering, right? Most people they're just too busy to look up at the moment because they're very, very busy paying off the loans, the big fucking loans. Like I said, the average home loan in Australia has now hit 600,000 for an average home loan, right? That's a lot of money. And they come back and said, "Oh, look at us, we give you another 0.25% reduction in your home loan payment." And I'm like, the only thing I understand about their monetary policy at the moment is that when they need you to stop spending your extra money after you've paid your bills, that's causing extra inflation. They push the interest rate up until you've got none left. When you've got none left, it's safe to start bringing the interest rate down until they can see you having a drop of money to spend into the market. So we're at the moment now we're dropping it because we've got none left.
Yep.
Right. So, and people are celebrating that, but all of that extra money that will be left over from that 0.25% or 0.5% that's gone down will only go into paying off credit cards that you're behind, paying off rent that you're behind, paying off getting the new tires that are bald as shit because your car's not got maintenance because you're behind. So it'll only go back directly into the market, which is GST, tax, fuel, excised anyway, as well as back into the pocket of the big businesses that, that all money ends up eventually in their pocket. So I don't need to be negative to it, and it's great to have it, but we shouldn't clap it. We shouldn't, because that's what they do. They take everything away from us, and when they give it back to us in small pieces, we end up with that Stockholm syndrome of saying, "Oh, thank you, Dan Andrews, you've given back our freedom." No, he fucking took it away from you. So don't love him for giving it back, hate him for fucking taking it when it was unnecessary in the first place.
And as I pointed out at the beginning of the podcast, it's exactly the sentiments, like it's not just you and me saying it. The fucking everybody on Elbows X is fucking saying it good and proper. And just to add a little bit more weight to your argument, within that, there's a wonderful statement here. "Fuck you, cunt," again, from Retards Down Under, with a picture of a beer, and he's got to pay $17.80 for it. Fuck me. Like, I brew my own. It costs me about $60 to come up with 2.5 cartons. Why would I go to the pub and spend $17.80 for a fucking beer? Like, heaven forbid you wanted a bloody Palmer and chips with it as well. I mean, the Palmer and chips is probably another $30 to $40 these days. Like, who can afford to take the family out on an average wage these days? But yeah, everybody throughout the comments is basically saying exactly the same fucking thing. Thanks, mate. You take it away. Yeah, and even the fine details. The ALP has frozen the excess on keg beer for 24 months. The increase still applies to everything else. Not to mention, he started talking about it right after the 6 monthly raping on cigarettes and alcohol went in. This is the Labor government, and from a Labor voter I heard when I probably about 16 years old, a diehard Labor voter was pissed off back then about what they were doing to cigarettes and alcohol, because that was described as a simple working man's pleasure, a beer and a smoke at the end of the fucking day. And look, it's the Labor government that has massively increased the taxes on both these things. How can you say these people care about the bloody worker? It's absolutely insane.
Yeah. And that's what I say about the immigration, right? It's not necessarily the immigrants. When a country budgets for 130,000 people to come into the country and lets out 800,000, we're going to have trouble, right? When the cruise ship fills up 10,000 beds and starts going to every port on the cruise and picking up another 100 passengers every time they pull up at a port, you're going to run out of fucking room. Like you already did. You were full, right? We lost 4,000 builders last year, deregistered last year. 4,000 builders in a living cost of in a housing crisis And did they stop being builders? Most likely not. They just couldn't afford to keep their businesses running anymore because the exponential leaps in the prices and the shortage of supplies meant that by the time they would get halfway through the build, or the time to build, that they couldn't afford the product anymore. And so they'd have to renege on the deal and walk away from it. So you can tell that, like I was talking about it with a stamp. The stamps, I'm sure they were $1 for a stamp. I bought a box of stamps one day, sending out a heap of shit. I went in there the next day and the stamp postage had gone up to $1.25. Now everybody's like,
that's a big
what?
jump.
I'm like, that's a 25% jump.
Yeah.
And she's like, she goes, well, it's only 25 cents. I said, no, it's fucking 25%. Just because the stamp's only 25 cents, that means every single small business in this country, small to medium business, that sends their product for $100 for a delivery is now 125, 1,000, 250, right? Like I said, that is a massive increase that nobody talked. I didn't find that on any mainstream media anyway. A 25% jump overnight in our transport costs.
I remember when it was 30 cents and it jumped to 35 cents, and that was bloody absolutely staggering. Everybody was up in arms about it.
Yeah. Well, fuel hit $1 a litre, 25 years ago,
20.
and it was on the front cover of the newspaper, all newspapers, every fucking week for about 8 weeks. They did not stop pumping, the government and the retailers and the wholesalers. They didn't stop pumping them for months and months about it being $1. And it's still sitting over $2.20 where I am. And all of the reasons in the world why it went from $1.25, I think, was the last before COVID that I paid with my business. So I've got fuel receipts of what it was. And now sitting, for most of the time, it's been a 100% increase, but now it's back down to like 80% increase, and it stayed at 80% increase. Right. So I mean, like, where's the justification for it? And this is what they do. They distract us long enough for long enough for the bullshit supplements and real-time wages. The middle class in this country is now only able to be middle class as long as they've got a Medicare rebate, a family tax A, a family tax B, a rental assistance. Right, they're the only things that can make you be middle class these days.
Subservient. That's the thing about welfare.
You're lower class with the top up, right?
Yeah, that's the problem with welfare. It's, the government's doing a great thing. They're looking after me. No, they fucked me in the first place. I wouldn't need this shit if they didn't take so much away from us in the first place. And the same with, like the fuel going up and the stamp prices going, all these things going up. It's no longer news. They've done it so much. It's a boring story. It's like talking about how the traffic lights keep screwing us every day. Everybody knows. What's the point? We've had this conversation. Can we talk about something interesting? Oh yeah, the footy. Yeah, that guy kicked the ball again. Oh yeah, woo.
Even though the same people kick the same goals, we can talk about that every weekend, but not talk about, like, are you still talking about COVID? Are you still talking about fucking football? Like,
Oh, yeah. One of my cousins used to have this amazing ability to sit there and talk for 2 hours about what happened in a Collingwood football game 100 years ago. Like, man, we weren't even fucking born. We have this conversation every time we sit down and have a drink, man. And every week I tell you the same thing. I don't give a shit. Like, I'm glad that you've spent so much time filling your head with that crap. But what does it do? How does it help me? It's not going to pay my fucking bills. I can walk up to McDonald's and tell them who won a football game in 1852. That's not going to fucking get me a cheeseburger. Not that you should be eating that shit anyway, but it's just an interesting fucking point of view.
It is, and I don't mind any type of conversation. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I'm blessed. Like I said, I'm an average Aussie who's living an extraordinary life because I've been, like, I've had my own farm, I had a pub, I have had a subdivision thing, but I've had jobs. So I'm not born, certainly not born. I was born on the poor side of the railway. Never came up with a silver spoon, but I ended up having an in-law family that sort of introduced me to money, so that I understood money. I lived my own rich dad poor dad story, but it doesn't mean that I'm good at anything or an expert at anything. It just means that I've got a well-rounded enough experience in life to be able to listen to people when they're talking what might seem to be French, but I might be able to, listen and understand enough to order a steak and a beer, or know if they're shit talking about me, because I can sort of catch their lingo. That's me with Constitution, right? I have no idea. I'm trying to learn to be able to speak to the people who understand my language, right? The Darrens and that of the world. Heidi when she talks law, the Darren and Daryl when they talk constitution, the Wayne. People are empowered by the fact that they're speaking, but they haven't got a fucking clue what they're saying because they've been doing it for so long. They're speaking fluent French, and we've just showed up for our first day of lessons. We're trying to count to 10. And so that's what I like to do with keeping us moving forward. And as much as I get told all day, every day in the back, someone screaming at me saying, this is the way, the one way, the only way. And I'm like, you sound like religion, bro. There's 3,000 fucking religions that say it's the one way, the only way. There is something that we can do. There is remedies and pathways, but we can't focus on them too much because just like the Magna Carta, it was won by the armies of the noblemen who had the shits. But the actual people that fought in the war against the king to have the Magna Carta signed was very, very unlikely statistically that they could read, let alone read the words that were on that fucking document. So the real people, the people that actually got bloodied, got battled, and took on the army of the king to get him to bend the knee and sign the mighty Magna Carta document that they all talk about underpinning everything that we have here today, wasn't won by someone clever writing it down and handing it to the king and the king going, Magna, he got me with the bloody Magna, just zumped me. I didn't see it coming. No, they turned their armies around and marched for nearly 8 or 9 months back to the king to attack. And when he finally bent the knee, it only lasted, 60 years before the Vatican took it over, rewrote it, and then it became the lead into the Pope Boniface's Unum Sanctum in 1302, right? Off the back of the 1290 sort of changes that the Vatican put in place. What I'm saying was the paperwork never wasn't the thing. It was the people. The Eureka Stockade is remembered. The Eureka Stockade is remembered for the different things. The Declaration of Independence is remembered, but what is needed to be remembered is the work, effort, bloodshed, and the people coming together to fight against the tyranny. We don't want the blood. We don't need the blood in this modern world, but we need the amount of people. Yeah. And we need those people to stand on the hill that they say, no more, sir, no further. And if they've got paperwork with them, great, serve it. And if they want to keep learning the paperwork to have it in case we don't win quickly, awesome, keep it. Because when the UN comes for your land under the Sendai framework, and wants to boot you out of your house under the Sendai Framework Managed Retreat, or the World Health Organization Collaborating Center shows up at your kid's school to vaccinate them with the new Pandemic Preparedness Treaty requirements under the international health regulations, and you don't know anything about it, and your kid comes home vaccinated for some disease that they just made up, right? Yeah. That's not going to be the time that you want to fight, right? You want to fight now. You want to fight now while you've got the time to, right?
Definitely. And, we need to all come together. I'll tie it back to what we were saying earlier, but, the immigration scenario. I don't know if you've seen this. I've played it a couple of times here, but, and, it's actually been requested by a few people. Hey, can you send me a link to this video? Because here is an immigrant who was properly immigrated into Australia. And I think speaks worlds of words here and says exactly what we're saying. And it's a perfect example of why this whole white supremacy shit is ridiculous. This is exactly a perfect example of us coming together against the common enemy, being the government.
About immigration in Australia at the moment. So I call this the Aussie immigration complex, and this is just my humble 2 cents opinion, so don't roast me too hard in the comments. So at the moment we have the federal government, which is the cinema over here, represented by someone behind the counter selling tickets, and over here is our country, represented by a movie. The movie is called Australia. Now obviously when you go see a movie at Event Cinema or Hoyts, for example, the seats are quite limited, and these seats are a metaphor for our limited housing. Now, obviously, some of us are already sitting in one of these seats. Either we have purchased the seats, which means we own the seat, or we have a mortgage against the seat, or some of us are renting these seats, for example, paying rent. Now, talking from a migrant's perspective, for example, I'm a migrant myself, my family's a migrant. The normal process is that, we hear that Australia is the next biggest new movie, the next biggest blockbuster. We can't wait to line up at the cinema to watch this movie. So what happens, naturally, all over the world, obviously non-Australians would line up at the cinemas to purchase tickets to then see this new movie called Australia. And obviously the person who's selling the ticket, because the status over here is like, well, there's still seats available, you can go in, and then people line up and then they buy tickets and they go in. But then what happens is, due to limited housing, limited seats, limited space, the cinema is packed with people and the status now is full. But what happens if the mofo sitting behind the cinema counter continues to sell tickets to let people in? Like, people are still lining up. This mofo, the dorky pimple teenage mindset politician, decides to keep selling tickets so people keep coming in to watch this bloody movie called Australia. Now what happens is, the existing people that are watching this beautiful movie called Australia, they were fine before, but then more people come in, and then people are walking in front of the fucking movie and going yalla yalla, and another one is like, oh baby habibi, and another one is like, ni hao ma, blah blah blah. And then the people over here were like, who are these motherfuckers? Why are you guys blocking the screen? While I'm sitting at the back over here, because I can't afford gold class, because I'm not VIP, I'm just like a middle class Australian having a fucking rant. And then next to me is an Indian mate, and he's like, brother, do not say that you are Chinese. Those people are Chinese. Do not say that you came from immigration too. And while I'm sitting over here with my large size popcorn, which I bought at the candy store, which used to cost $5 many years ago, but now due to inflation is now $20, which I'm really pissed off already. I remember back then, I came here on the premise that it wasn't full, it wasn't packed, and there were people in front of my fucking face while I'm trying to enjoy this movie called Australia. I lined up, I bought the tickets, I came in. I'm having a rant because the place is full. There shouldn't be more people coming in. And suddenly no one's enjoying this movie called Australia anymore, right? In the cinemas, everyone's bickering, right? I'm having a fight with this Indian mate. Over here, Lebo's having a fight with another Italian. Greek's having a fight with the Chinese. Whatever it is, everyone's bickering over here. And while we're doing this, old mate at the fucking cinema is then walking back to the back office over here, counting his stash. Look how many fucking tickets I've sold. Man, I'm gonna make bank before I retire. In the midst of this guy's evil laughter and the bickering of the existing locals in the cinema, the new residents that come into Australia, because they are promised, this ticket, you can watch the beautiful Australia, they come in and go, what the fuck is happening? Then we have a new migrant coming in and go like, hey, excuse me, can I sit down? I'm new here. And the person sitting down over here is like, fuck off, mate, you dickhead. And then this new migrant over here gets a bit scared and runs to another migrant and goes, oh my God, these people over here are racist. And as we slowly zoom back out in a bird's eye view, we start to identify the Aussie immigration complex. We start to see the people in this cinema, regardless of those who have a seat or those who do not have a seat, they all have the intention to watch this beautiful movie called Australia. That is their intention. And instead of hating on each other and blaming each other for the limited seating in the cinema while we're trying to watch this movie called Australia and be divided by our cultural differences, let's just agree we all got duped by this cunt over here. All right? This cunt is still selling tickets, and this cunt is raising prices at the candy store. This cunt always wants us to be divided, fighting against each other so that we do not pay attention to what they're really doing, making bank every day at the back office. Well, they keep selling tickets to the potential moviegoers of the world, which watch a trailer of Australia and go, wow, I want to come into this country. But they do not know that we're full. We have limited housing, limited seats. In my own humble opinion, the only way to solve the Aussie immigration complex is for those who have a seat, every person stand up, boom, 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 and align with those who are walking around. Let's together march towards the entrance, and the mass mob over here overthrows this motherfucker over here and burn this motherfucking cinema down. Yeah, I know it's kind of dystopian, dramatic, but what other solution do we have? Jump in the comments. Let me know what you think.
There you go. Immigration from an immigrant's point of view. Now, that is a man I'm welcome to this country happily, and will buy a beer any day of the week. I don't give a shit what color he is. He gets it. That's the fucking point. He sees it the way we see it. And you don't have to be white to be pissed off at the government for fucking selling too many tickets to the cinema here. It's really straightforward. He makes some brilliant frigging points, and he puts it together in such a brilliant way. And for those of you who are saying, hey, can you send a link? The easiest way, because I downloaded it. I can't even remember where I downloaded it from. I'm pretty confident you can find it in my Telegram. If not,
don't worry, it'll be on my channel.
Yeah,
it'll be on my channel tomorrow because I'll get it sent to me 52 times overnight.
There you go. Well, it is available on the North Queensland Freedom Network on Telegram, where you can download it freely, because I downloaded it from somewhere. I can't even remember. I got a hold of this quite a few weeks ago, or months ago, actually. But yeah, brilliant. I think it's brilliant. And, you know, that's the kind of coming together I want to see.
Yeah, I had like 50, 60,000 views on that video that I just did the other day, where I was like, do you ever see any fucking homeless people coming out going, oh, you got $2 for cream of some young guy soup? You know, like, oh, can you please give me some money so I can get my taxi license? You know, like I was doing exactly that. And I apologize for being racist, but when a Chinese guy takes the piss out of every other race, it doesn't seem racist at all. So I'm glad that he did that. I don't feel like such a white supremacist now for talking shit and making.
It's the
making
Australian way. We've done this for fucking God knows how long now. We've always just taken the piss and had a laugh. You know, that's what it is. That's what it means to be Australian. If you don't like that, fuck off. Make way for one of these other immigrants you brought in. Fuck me. Like, how hard is this? Like, you don't like the culture? Fuck off. I mean, I don't like the whole Muslim thing. So you know what? Don't move to their fucking country. It's really simple.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't like fucking Thai food. Well, don't go on fucking holiday in Thailand and ask for a fucking steak. Like, you know, I'm like get real. I mean, you know, I just know how easy it is with people that don't have the time to process a long thought for them to do what the mainstream media does well, which is create a problem, tell you the solution, and then we, the people, just react to it. Like the backstory with Palestine and Israel goes back and forth, and all it does is whitewash the fact that children and women are getting killed, and men, but women and children are getting killed. Both sides, all wars, getting killed. Not acceptable. If they want to go to two front lines and do their stupid shit, warring over fucking money, fine, whatever. If you want to sign up for that, fine, whatever. But stop bombing fucking places where women and children are. I don't care about the fucking history. I don't care. Eye for an eye makes the whole world blind. If the whole world was fucking blind, we'd probably have less racism because we wouldn't be able to identify each other with the color of their skin or the look of the walk of their fucking.
I don't like this.
We'd probably have a better world. Yeah, that's right.
I'll find something. I mean, I can solve the Russian-Ukrainian problem really quickly. You know what? Let's get fucking Putin and Zelensky, put them in a ring, give them some boxing gloves, sell fucking tickets. Problem solved. Why do we have to scrape people off the side of the street to go and fight wars for these cunts? Fuck, let them fight it out.
Well, Zelensky loves getting punched in the ring at the best of the times, and you think
that's what I've heard.
You know, so fucking,
I don't want to watch that movie.
No. I'm sure I've shared it with friends at some stage.
Only so you can see the look on the guy's face when he realizes what you've just sent him. Nobody does it for pleasure. Right. Only personal pleasure to watch the reaction.
People say, when I say things that sound, you know, like, oh, you know, we need to fix this country and that sort of stuff, and they go, well, you should run for politics. And I'm like, you should see my fucking meme history. Okay, because that's it. Yeah, that would be everything that anything you'd ever want to see in the world would be like, oh my God, this guy's trending really well. Hack his phone and show what he sent his last 10 memes to his friends. Boom, 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 boom. No fucking no votes. Like even you would probably struggle and go, fuck, Jody, you sort of had me until you that abortion meme you sent. Oh fuck, Jody, that's that's fuck.
Would they have to go to that extent? Like, just gonna have to go through our Facebook profiles and we're fucked.
Well, have you heard the story of my gun license?
No, I don't believe I have.
They wouldn't let me have a gun license because I'm not a fit and proper person for the purposes of the community. And they sent me the evidence. They said, we believe from evidence that we've obtained from a social media site run in the name of Jody Lowe, which we believe you to be the sole operator of. I'm like, fuck, these guys are good. They said, we believe that you are a conspiracy theorist, and here is the evidence of said claim. And the banner of my Facebook
use the word conspiracy theorist. Oh,
call me a conspiracy theorist, and the banner of my profile page says, "I identify as a conspiracy theorist. My pronouns are told you so." That's what they use as the evidence back to me in my official no, you can't have a gun license letter, because they said we've believed that you wouldn't follow state legislation after your recent video bragging about your win using a templated system to fight back against legislation or rulings.
Says the king of template systems.
That's what I wrote back and went, it says that they took a photo of the post where I'm talking about section 122AA of the Traffic Operations Road Use Management Act. It says in the top line, it says, I do not advocate for any breaking of the rules deliberately. All I ask is that we hold them accountable to the legislation that they manage to fine us under for everything that we do. Here is an opportunity for you to ask the question, has their machine been calibrated as per section 122AA? There's a video with the paperwork of me doing it. That's what she gave me to say that I wouldn't be likely to follow the legislation. So when I wrote it back to him, I said, I'm a compliance coordinator at the mine. All right. I have a blue card, which was given to you, which means I can go to and help children at schools. I have a shot firers assistance license, which means I can play with the boom boom sticks. Right. Yep. I'm a director of 3 companies which require police checks to get the directorship. But because I'm a conspiracy theorist hiding behind the label of my own name on Facebook, and they
using
said,
the law to stand against the law,
using the law to teach people how to how to push themselves and protect themselves on a system who's illegally using the system. I said I find it quite funny, and the fact that you've used, I will overlook the fact that you called me a sovereign citizen, which is an oxymoron at best, you idiots, because you can't be both. And if I was the sovereign side of what you're calling me, why would I be filling out a fucking citizen's paperwork with $140 application fee? Boom, you fuckwits. Yeah. That's what we're dealing with, right? That's because
stupid.
Well, it's because they're told that key word that if you voted no for the voice, you're a racist. If you've said no to the vaccine, you're an anti-vaxxer. If you say that you don't like 5-year-old children the little boys getting their penises chopped off because they wore their sister's dress once and might be a little bit confused at that age, that you're a fucking transphobe, right? You don't accept the fact that kids have got kitty litters in the local schools here. Have got kitty litters in the toilets so that the furries can pee in the kitty litters.
I might need to get one of them kitty litter boxes here for these podcasts. I mean, I've got the fridge here with the beer and whatnot under it, but I haven't got a kitty litter tray. That could solve a few problems.
I was actually just thinking to myself, imagine having it like a sandbox around the toilet for all the time my wife is angry at me for missing.
Brilliant. We've just solved another fucking problem, man. That's genius. We could patent this shit and start selling it right now.
Full sandbox that you just slide in like that and then you step up onto like a sandbox full of kitty litter, and then you can just you can be on the phone.
Fold-out steps for the little boys,
and
who
it doesn't matter.
It's toilet training apparatus as well, so it comes out with little folding steps, so the kids can step up. Boom. The cash is going to roll in, Jody. Cash is rolling in on this one. I think it's a brilliant idea. What are we going to do about the wall, though?
I'm not a genius. I'm not a genius, Patty.
We'll leave that for another day. Right now, at least we've got the floor covered.
Well, that's what they say about what do you think the man that invented the term one-hit wonder did after he did that?
Hopefully invested.
Well, I think we should trademark it though, because there's a story. Robert Kiyosaki, the famous Rich Dad Poor Dad,
brilliant
book
love
writer.
His work.
Yeah, he invented the Velcro wallet, and he was selling them and was a multi-millionaire very quickly in his early stages, and was driving around in fancy cars, but he never trademarked it or put any patenting on it, and they reverse engineered it within about the first year of his business, and he was bankrupt within about a month. So yeah, we'll make sure we trademark that shit.
We better get on it, because we just released it to the whole fucking world while with brainstorming. Maybe we should brainstorm in private from here on in. But it's the nature of the beast. Yeah. This is a great platform for coming up with brilliant ideas, it seems.
Yeah. This is breaking up a go.
Thank you, Rex. You're damn right. Sips, ladies and gentlemen. For those of you who don't know, I used to play in a band called Bogan Nation. And one of the things we used to do in rehearsal was get pissed off at each other. Hang on, man, we can't start the song. We haven't had a fucking sip yet, man. So in order to stop, the band members punching on in rehearsal, and this is long before we got to the stage, we decided, right, everybody call sips and then we can start the song, all right? So we done that for, a couple of rehearsal sessions. I thought, man, this is fucking hilarious that we do this. We should take this on fucking stage. Everyone's going to love it. Not to mention, what are pubs? We go and we play in pubs. What do they sell? They sell piss. We keep them drinking. This is brilliant. Fucking brilliant. So, and it worked. It worked a treat. And it what started off as a jovial, hang on, man, I haven't had a drink. I've also turned it into we're all drinking together. So I'm not an alcoholic anymore because I'm not drinking alone. We're drinking together, but we're also drinking an Aussie mateship. So when I say sips, it's because I'm drinking responsibly, not skulls, sips. Keep it moderate. And in Aussie mateship, sips, ladies and gentlemen. Plus, it worked really well because I don't think there was a venue that didn't come up to us at the end of it and go, "We never made so much over the bar with the band before. That's brilliant."
Yeah, because I used to do the same.
That was our merchandising.
Yeah, sips, nice.
Yeah. So yeah, just in case you thought I was making that shit up, look, I even came up with bullshit fucking merchandising just to keep the story alive.
Yep, no, all good. Yeah, I don't know. Like, there's a lot of people. A lot of people are waking up to the fact, right? And unfortunately, there's two things that are waking them up primarily. A lot of them are getting sick because they didn't listen to us at the first opportunity that they had to say no to the COVID. So there's a lot of fucking people getting sick all the time. And the second one is a lot of people are going broke because they didn't listen to us about what was going on with the planned sort of corruption and rollout. But if you can separate the pandemic for every other thing that we've learned since then and just have a standalone pandemic, the fact that people know that they were capable of doing it so quickly and it crushed and caused so much chaos in this country, and if nothing else ever happened
worldwide,
again, or nothing else
worldwide, it wasn't just this country. That's the even scarier thing, And you can say the same about immigration, and every issue that we've talked about today is not just happening here in Australia. It's happening in every Western civilization, Europe, England, America, the whole lot.
Just take all of that away and just have COVID. The fact that they can go on with life thinking that could never happen again is what bothers me the most. Because it did, right? Because I can give them all the details about what's happening now. I've got the list of immigration, 5G, geoengineering, all of the things that we've got on those sheets that people are busting their piss about, carbon credits, ESG, environmental social governance credits, 15-minute cities, anything that you want to talk about, we can sort of talk about. But if you just talk about the COVID, the fact that nobody in this country, that the people are scared of the answers because they're not calling for it. Because even if it's just financial, wouldn't you want to know how we went? And if it happened again, which they're all threatening it would, no other conspiracy, no other big grand plan of killing everybody, wouldn't your country want to know? And that's what shows me that the people know, but they're too scared to ask the questions. Because if you don't, I don't like talking about COVID deaths and that sort of stuff very much, because my 3 older girls had it. They had the jabs before I even knew that I wasn't going to have the jab. So I reached out to them as they were lining up for their second jab, right? I don't want to live in a world where I'm thinking about them dying every day. And I don't yet have a remedy for it, right? But imagine.
Sorry, I just had to say, the Willem Sippel here has just given us an idea for the name of our wonderful new invention here, P-Save.
Yeah,
it's an interesting idea. I don't know if I want to save it though, or are we saving ourselves from getting punched by the missus? I don't know.
Mops up, or something like that. Mops up.
Like, give it a yo homie thing.
Well, it'd be just like
some gangster dude with a comb sticking out of his head, his pants hanging around his knees. When you can't get it in the fucking bowl, man, here's a what's it, nups?
I can just picture like a massive black man with a huge hose, and he's like, "Bro, you're pissing all over the floor." you need a mops up. And like, then they just slide one in. He's like, fuck, that's amazing, man. I can just hose everywhere. Yeah, man, it's for men with big fucking dongs. Mops up. Mopsup.com.
Yeah.
I reckon that mind blowing. It's a great, mops
Brilliant.
up. Great. Sorry, P
Well,
Save. You're out.
Yeah, P Save. Yeah, it's too conservationist meets conservative, just to fuck with people.
Ali's is not bad. Drop Sopper.
Piddle Pit.
Yeah. Piddle Pit. Piddle Pit. I don't mind it. Yeah.
Piddle Tray.
Mops up. I'm going to go with Mops up. Hashtag Mops up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, but like mops up makes it sound like you're going to actually have to physically clean it up. You know, like, I don't know.
Mops up for you, man.
Yeah, mops up for you. Oh, there you go. Yeah, mops up for you with the 4 and a U.
Mops up.
You know, that real yo homie vibe.
Yeah, no fucking wire or anything like that. It's like fucking.
We've got to save on those valuable letters.
Well, that's what I was just made me think of that. There's a meme that went around the other day saying, and it's got Jesus sitting at the end of the table, and he's like boozing hard with the other 11 disciples or whatever at the table, and he's like, I'm God's son, and they're like, no way, and he's like, Yahweh.
Oh, that's a good one. I like it.
That homie vibe. No. And,
yeah,
it's funny that you dropped it when you dropped the N-word. It must be. It must be
long drop pedal pit.
Yeah. Mine dropped from such a high.
Nothing worse than a long drop. I think the last time I went to a long drop, I needed a fucking blood transfusion because the amount of mozzies that swarmed me. I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah.
That was nasty. And, you know, I don't know what the hell they were procreating in before they come swarming out to try and bite me on the ass and ball sack. Like, wow. Yeah, I tell you what, I never defecated so quick in my life.
But, well, you certainly don't sit on a long drop tapping on your phone like I do when I'm at home for 20 minutes.
God, no. If it's not the mozzies, it's the dunny budgies.
Can we talk about Courage and Cure? Can we talk? I don't know if this is a serious one. Can we talk about the SWAT team that arrested Jesus in the park with a child before he was crucified?
You're going to have to help me out here, Robin. I'm not familiar with this. I know that Jesus built my hot rod ministry. Yeah, Jesus built my hot rod in a ministry in 1991. Was the album? It's from Psalm 69.
Jesus was the name of my forklift at my pub because we thought that he'd made it during his apprenticeship days because it was that fucking old. I'm just seeing if there was an actual, whether that was a joke, whether that was a real biblical question, whether there was something recently. But yeah, look, we've had some tough weeks in the people that are out there doing the work, right? We've had some people locked up. We've had some people arrested. We've had some, people taken from their workplaces. Batty knows me.
Yes, I know that. This is Robin from Courage is a Cure. She's part of our wonderful Cafe Locked Out Cure. She's a upstanding member of the human race. Mostly because she's not laying down. But
absolutely. Pun. Yeah. So I mean, it's been a rough time, right? Because they're really targeting anybody that's actually going at it at the moment. And this is the thing, right? We were talking about anti-Semitism and stuff like that with the white trash movement. Because if you'd say anything these days, it's a loaded question. You get called a name straight away. I believe that we're dead set on a path to civil war, just like they want us to do, right? They want us to spend the most time, because what we were talking about. So what just happened so we just signed off on the International Health Regulation Changes of Pandemic Preparedness Treaty. We've got a small window of another 8 months or something like that before it gets finished. But they're still talking about things at the moment. We've got the e-Karen, the e-safety Karen at the moment is full steam about to roll out, and all of this will go away without the facial recognition digital ID thing.
Yeah.
And I'm sure people will partake, but I'm sure it's going to hit pretty hard in the freedom movement of the people that are just like, fuck this stuff, right? So, and these are the things that are relevant to us right now. So yes, immigration is a problem. Yes, housing is a problem. All the battlefronts, but by putting that one tag that was probably the easiest to derail in terms of left or right, swinging that pendulum back and forth, the immigration argument. It's such a hit. It's such a hot time where you're tying in the Palestinian war and killing at the same time as time in immigration and Muslim nation, Zionism and and the Australian Federal Police has got the top two things on their top list of 14 the things to look out for are hate speech and anti-Semitism. 0.4% of our population, 0.4% of our population identify as Jewish, and they're the two things that the AFP are supposedly looking at the most. And so that's why I said of all the things that we need to be looking at, immigration is one of them, but it's a volatile topic to waste the 31st on in the singularity. And that's why I believe it was done on purpose, because it's stopping us from, as a nation and as a movement, we're going to waste 2 months, 1 month talking about it before it and 1 month after it. All we're talking about in the freedom movement. Is it a plan? Is it a tie-up? Are the police going to be there? The UN's underground, Bosie's. Is this the 10 days of darkness that's been coming for it? Are we going to be on the street? It's martial law, right? And we're not talking about what's actually going on, which is legislation getting passed out of draconian nature. And that's what Courage of the Kill just said. We've forgot who the enemy is. That's right. We are forgetting who the enemy is, right? Just fucking shut up about anything other than the government is the enemy. 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 That's it, right? Just doesn't matter. Doesn't matter black, white, whatever you are. Doesn't matter what
country you're in.
Because
they all have the same fucking problem. Because we all have the same problems. It's not by fucking coincidence that the entire fucking world has the same fucking immigration problems. That we all have the same financial problems. That we all got fucking rounded up, told we can't bloody live our lives unless you take a spicy needle. Or this is just ridiculous. It's so obvious who the true enemy is. And this scenario to set us up for a 31st racist fucking freedom movement. It's just the icing on the cake to cement the save the kids narrative's not working because we're trying to chop their dicks off in school and we can't say that we're protecting people from sexual abuse because we're letting migrants rape women left, right, and center, and we're letting them out the next fucking day. Nobody's buying any of our bullshit. What are we going to do? Oh, that's right. Let's turn them all on the freedom movement that's pointing out that we're fucking lying all the time. Quick, fuck them over. We got to prove that they're fucking white supremacist racists. Quick, let's get that narrative going.
And do it 2 weeks. Do it 2 weeks after the Four Corners hit piece that will come out. If you've watched the highlights of it, saying that we're very dangerous and we're no longer fringe, and that we don't believe in we want to take the protection of the legal system, but not pay the consequences when we break it. And and that's what I was saying. Like I've got the flyer here. So the constant surveillance, right? They're using the face cam technology all over the countryside with the sensor dynamics. The mob from Bunnings that got banned from using face recognition. Those sensor dynamics are all over the country now, reporting in real time,
wasn't it?
That was their checkouts, but they use it on number plates. It's the same technology that they can put on the roadside to recognize number plates, and they use Elon Musk's infinite ability to do it. We've got family court trauma. I mean, they are ripping every family to pieces, dragging them through those family courts at the moment. Constitutional denial. I mean, that's a given, right? Section 109 is what Dr. Beverly is going under, with the gazumption of federal over state for our constitutional rights during COVID. Rod Culleton's under Section 92, which is talking about the right to travel during the COVID lockdowns. We've got foreign ownership. Now, our land is at 22%. Our water is at 14%. Our minerals and resources are at 86% foreign owned.
That's ridiculous.
And the minerals and resources.
And tell me they care about the indigenous people. I mean, it's their land, that's their minerals. Yet, what was it? 86%?
86% foreign owned.
Somehow own indigenous minerals. Wow. It's another one of those amazing conundrums, I don't understand how they can be so fucking full of shit.
Well, it's the separation of powers, because the crown illegally owns the allodial title. The money from royalties goes to the crown from the actual the product income that comes from the production and therefore the sale of the minerals and resources is a taxable event, and that goes to the Commonwealth of Australia Proprietary Limited, right? So and so you've got to fill out massive amounts of paperwork this thick, and get blood tested and try and find the apical, the highest point of your bloodline, if you can work out where you come from when they were split up and disbanded around the countryside, right, to work out how to come back to be able to claim that title. But yet under the voice legislation that they're trying to sneak in the states now, after we said no again with a referendum, you only have to sign an affidavit to say that you identify or that you are of racial descent. No blood tests, no lineage, no apicals, no paperwork required of that sort of length. So government debt, we're well over $1.5 trillion worth of government debt. So as a federal level, $1 trillion equals $20 billion a year in interest at 2%, and it equals about $38,000 for every Australian in this country is going to have to partake in paying back that federal debt as a Commonwealth citizen, right?
A debt that none of us actually physically signed up for, as far as I'm concerned. Let's go back to the person who did sign for that debt, and they can pay it. That's just my personal opinion. I don't know. What does the rest of Australia think? Should the person who actually signed that document pay it? Like, well, why should we pay it?
Because we are shareholders in the Commonwealth of Australia Proprietary Limited under our citizenship.
Oh, really? When do I get some of the kickbacks from being a shareholder? Shouldn't I get a dividend or something?
Yeah, well, you would and you should, and I've done plenty of these on the whiteboard, so forgive the people that have seen it before. Let's just say I'm a coal miner, right? I was born on this land. I'm the thermal coal miner. I go out and I mine the thermal coal as my part of the community, right? To mine the thermal coal that we use for power. We've got that down to about 57% now. Of our power is only powered by thermal coal. I go out and I mine the coal. And I say, here's the coal to the government, and what do I get for my coal? Because I have an equal share in the Commonwealth for the coal. And they say, no, nothing. No, you don't get anything for that. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, what do I get for digging it out? And they say, you get a wage. We've got a wage system. And so, okay, where does that coal go? Well, we sell it, and it goes towards roads and schools and all that sort of stuff. And you go, oh, okay, well, I guess that's for the better of the community. That's cool. I get a wage. I get a nice big wage. Beautiful. And then they say, we're taking greater than 30% of that wage off you. What's that for? Well, that's a tax, and that's to pay for the roads.
All the things we already told you we were going to pay for. Yeah.
And then they're like, well, hang on, you already took the coal. You already took the coal off me, my equal share of the coal for all that sort of stuff. Yeah, there's a lot more cost involved than just that. So we got to take yours too. In fact, we can take up 48 cents in the dollar as a coal miner because you've got a good wage. I'm like, okay, well, I guess the third side of that triangle would be that the coal that I dug out makes power. I didn't get any money from the coal. I paid a fuckload of taxes on the money that I dug the coal out for. Surely I would get power free. And I would say, no, you actually pay triple the amount of power of the average country that doesn't have the minerals and resources that we do.
Yeah. Well, we got a carbon tax on that. So yeah, fuck you.
And when you put that down to the base level to people, their mind just starts getting to the point where they go, fuck. And that's it, right? I mean, I can give a lot more explanations, but it's just a scam on scam on scam. I did a whiteboard the other day where I just wrote down, Marty loves the whiteboards, but I just was telling the people, just write in the comments, name me the taxes. So here's the little guy, he just earned the money. He didn't get any money for the coal. He had to pay taxes for his income, and he pays triple for his power. Now give me the list of taxes that his net money is going to pay. And people were just going nuts. Like, you've got a beer tax that you're just about to crack open and put in your face, alcohol tax. You've got a, capital gains tax. You've got a fuel excise tax. You've got a rate. You've got a registration. You've got a license. You've got a stamp duty, and we just went down and we just wrote this massive list of taxes down there, and people were just like, far out.
Even the mainstream pointed out the other day that we are one of the most heavily taxed countries in the world. You know, I thought it was amazing that the mainstream actually acknowledged that for a change. Like, I mean, me and the circles of conspiracy have been discussing this for 20 plus fucking years. You know, it's just painfully obvious. You know, when you're losing 30 to 50% of your wage before you even started, then you want to go and fill up the tank. There's another, whatever you paid, there's 30% gone. You go and buy the shopping. You lost your 10 to 15 in GST or whatever. Plus, you go and buy a fucking beer and street, heaven forbid, a packet of smokes. I mean, by God, by the time you're done, you're lucky if you've got any money left, and most of what you bought was taxed on tax on tax on tax. And Senator Malcolm Roberts pointed out, and this was several years ago, I imagine the figures have moved, but he calculated it out that if you work a 9 to 5 job, Monday to Friday, the average person pays tax from word go Monday till 10 o'clock on Thursday. That everything you've done to that point is tax. You get from 10 o'clock on Thursday to Friday knockoff.
Yeah. And I used to always blow ciggies on a fucking Friday.
You want to hope you get, and there again, most people in particular up here are knock off early on a Friday, so you're missing out a bit.
Yeah, I was doing it late last year. I was just going talk to young people. I was trying to do it through TikTok, going, there's your clock that started at 9 o'clock, and I'd wind it round to 9:40 and go, okay, that's the general tax done. You get the net money for the next 20 minutes of this hour, but in that net money, it will encourage other taxes that you have a choice. So if you don't fuel up your car, you don't have to pay that tax. If you don't buy
society.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And so that's and that's what, if you see when they took the gold off the back of our standard in the 70s, we had hyperinflation that they managed with a 20% increase of it while we were trying to stabilize the fact that our money was devaluing at a rapid rate. But for 50 years straight, the stats show that we've had positive inflation for 50 years straight, and we are just used to it. It's just a thing. Every year something will be dearer. Why? Like, why is water in a bottle at a servo, why is that dearer every year?
We used to joke about that as a kid. I remember being in primary school joking about having to pay for bottled water. But here we are doing it.
But I've just been like, why do we accept something like that?
We would pay for air. And for those of you who haven't seen Spaceballs yet, look out, it's probably coming. And
that's right.
A carbon tax is fundamentally a tax on air. It is a roundabout way of creating the Spaceballs joke and turning it into a reality.
Yeah, of course it is, because you'll see. So fungible tokens, you know what a non-fungible and fungible token is in crypto world?
No, I'm not. I'm a bit green on the crypto. I've got some.
It means nothing to me. It just means it can't be copied, right? So it can't be replicated. So they use I think they use non-fungible tokens for like art. Okay, so you can buy digital art through like a non-fungible token, which means that it can't be replicated, it can't be copied. They're starting to divide up the land in digital grids of overlays of crown land and things like the rainforest and that sort of stuff, and they will be selling the non-fungible tokens of that land as the carbon credit system. So land that they don't own, land that they don't think, but they will control by non-fungible tokens. So you'll start hearing non-fungible tokens over our crown land in this country soon, something along those lines. It might be a little bit too far forward for Australia, but they've already talked about the reason why they're locking down all of the national parks is because they're moving, because that's over 22% of our land. They're moving to use those credits, those carbon credits for the big businesses as offsets, so that they get paid for the lease of those crown lands as carbon offsets for the big businesses. Now, the big businesses are like, that's cool, but the reason that it's good to put carbon offset on it is because it's treed, right? It's naturally vegetated and treed, which means that it's good for carbon offset credits. If we let campers go in there and something creates a fire,
sorry to cut you off. I just got to put this idea out there. Like, can you imagine being the carbon creditor auditor, having to walk through all these rainforests counting trees? All right, somebody, hang on. The step ladder's not high enough. I can't see how tall this tree is. I can't calculate, the carbon offset of this fucking tree.
That's what AI is for, right?
What the fuck kind of lunacy are we leading to? Because I mean, you can already see how over the top with red tape and ridiculous legislation and bean counting we already are. I mean, it seems to me that that's the next level. Is we're going through your rainforests, counting your trees, how tall they are. What's next? They're going to come up with some fucking weird ass device that measures how much carbon's being sucked in by said tree and oxygen emitted by said tree as well. Oh, hang on, you haven't got the right kind of tree because this tree sucks up more carbon and spits out more oxygen.
They've already got carbon capture machines all through those forests. They already have the measurements for all that. Yeah, or they always have oxygen measurements and shit to see what's coming out of them. But that's
ridiculous idea already in motion.
But that's what I'm saying is that through environmental social governance credits, that's what the business has. People have carbon credits at the moment. We're used to that. Through the environmental social governance credit, they're going to start leasing our Crown land to these businesses. That's why they're shutting them all down. That's why you're seeing all across the country people coming up to close fences and going, why? It's because if you go in there and if you go in there under lease and something happens, you burn something down, and they're going to lose their carbon credit lease, right? That's my understanding of what ESG does, and that top down.
Martin wants a whiteboard session.
Yeah, Martin loves the whiteboards.
I happen to have one, and it's already clean.
I can't get through to scribble on it at the moment, but
we can do this vicariously.
That's how I usually break it down, right? I get it on the whiteboard, I get it up on the whiteboard, and I write it down so that people can sort of. For me, it's the way that I get it out of my brain, but two, it's a visual representation so that people can go away and have a look. So when I say Sendai framework, people can go have a look at that and understand how that's infiltrated into our local government authorities. The LGAs are using the Sendai framework to build the disaster risk reduction plans, which comes out of the UNDRR, the United Nations Disaster Risk Reduction Plan. So that's what sits above the Sendai framework. Sendai is I think it must be a town or a city in Japan where they had the meeting years ago, signed off on the last of it to start rolling it out. And then we, now we see it starting to infiltrate. You might not find the word in your local council, but if you go to the local council and ask for what the disaster risk reduction plan or the climate risk reduction plan, ask them where their risk assessment is for it, and that'll be where you start to see the truth, where they're starting to risk assess to the point where it's all so red and dangerous that the plan is the insurance companies will start wiping you for insurance for living there. And then if you continue to stay in these high risk areas and events keep happening, I don't want to harp on about it, but do you know that they can start fires? Do you know that they can start fires pretty easily from the sky? Right. So you have these events happening all over the world. Some people call it revelations. I call it man-made.
In North Queensland, particularly along the coastal zone, I think there's only three companies that will allow you to have insurance if you're at a certain distance from the coast. So obviously they don't want to stop people having coastal properties, because obviously Bill Gates and all that, who are so worried about the seas rising, are still buying up that kind of land, but they're pushing the general populace away from it astoundingly.
Absolutely. This is what they do. They push us away, and then their friends buy up the control of it, right? Yeah. I mean, I talk about it, but they have patents all over the world for steering hurricanes. We watch quite regularly now. You can see NextRad circles. So those circles that you see whenever there's a map of Australia, and people talk about the circle of that radar with that pulse. Yeah. About the clouds and that, and people always taking photos going, what the fuck is that? Well, that's NextRad, right? And NextRad's what they use to steer, and HARP is what they use to agitate the ionosphere to get the reaction that they want for the particles to intensify. Not necessarily to steer, but to intensify, right? But like I showed the mapped version of the lithium mine in Kings Mountain, northern Florida, up in the hills. A town called Asheville was next to a little mine called the Kings Mountain mine. The mine was trying to reopen and revamp itself and pump it up because lithium was going good again with all this go green bullshit. And so, but they'd done some environmental damage. So the people of Asheville had managed to stop them from expanding, starting up again and expanding. Well, 2023, BlackRock comes along, gets involved, buys a major share into the company, and within 6 months, they've put the application in again, been rejected, and 2 months after that, the Florida hurricane that went right through the mountain gets next ratted right through the middle, straight up through the middle of Florida, up into 3,000 feet above sea level, and floods the town of Asheville. Funnily enough, none of them have flood insurance, and pretty much decapitates the place. While Kings Mountain, looks like it should be good to go for for the expansion, because no fucker lives up there anymore. And it just keeps happening, right? Maui, the Maui fires, they wouldn't give up the natives wouldn't give up the land. What do you know? Next minute, all burnt out, and they've got taken control. California, lithium mine under the lake. The whole fire goes through there, burns the whole Spanish coast. Same thing, smart city location. The people wouldn't get it. The east coast of Spain, I think it is, came in across the coast, went straight down where the network for the smart city was, wiped the whole lot out. Fast train locations, all of the things you can just about perfectly overlap and overlay. Bushfires in Western Australia last year burnt out, 700,000 freaking hectares of land, all in a perfect line where the trains want to go from the lithium mine that's out on the western. Yeah, it's just convenient, and we are.
Only we had a media watching and paying attention to these things.
Yeah.
Well, that's right. We do alternative media. Oh, wow, amazing.
Yeah, we are it, right? There's no more.
And there's a broad community. There's so much that I can't even keep up. There's so many channels that I keep an eye on and keep an eye on to see what's going on, because there's so much happening. It's fucking mind blowing. If by some astounding miracle, Channel 9, 10, 7, and SBS and ABC, if they all pulled their resources and actually focused it, they couldn't do it.
No way. Look,
wanted to, they couldn't do it.
That is
I view details, insight, 5.1 million views.
That is representation of that. That is the 28-day engagement, 500,000 engagement. That is a like, share, follow, or comment for the last 28 days. We are winning little people like us who have no reason to be relevant except trying to tell the truth to the people, are now absolutely smashing any of their ratings on mainstream TV.
And that's why they need this facial recognition shit. They need this digital ID. They need the new pandemic of white, racist, freedom-loving people, who are standing against an authority that nobody wants to be an authority for, which is another astounding element, which no doubt will not be covered in the Four Corners story, is that actually nobody wants to be a copper, because they know they're wrong. The coppers are jumping ship and joining us. That's the funny thing, Darren and Daryl and all that. I remember going to a court case with Darren. I'm like, fuck, shit, this is good 15 years ago or something. Again, a copper fighting a speeding fine. It was the funniest thing I've ever seen. They wheeled in trolleys of paperwork. It's the funniest thing I've ever seen. And the e-cigarettes had just come out, and everybody's sitting there in the audience smoking e-cigarettes. No, there's no law that says you can't make me not do this. So they're all smoking e-cigarettes in the court. I'm like, wow, what have I just found here? This is almost like the insane asylum of logic. But the courts were not going to have a bar of it, And I remember speaking to the copper who was fighting the fine, and he's just rattling off all this stuff. This is in my green sort of days, about well, I mean, look at the taxes, GST. That's 2 taxes. It says in the law there's only 1 tax. I can't be a copper anymore because everything's just a lie. They want me to, fine mum and dads and old ladies and stuff for going 3Ks over the limit. and let criminals free, how can I operate in this system? Like it's mind blowing. You know, once you start to open your eyes and see what's really going on,
Well, did you see Fordham's report the other day when he was talking about the list of things? I need to find it, but there's a list of things that you can apply for under the immigration, like the fast tracking of what we need in the country. So you take a population of 100,000, 100% in our doctors, in our nurses, in our firefighters, in our ambulance, in our police, and our teachers. You take 100% of that workforce and you take 30% away from every one of them for mandates, and you take that away from them for 3 years, and then whether you like them or not for staying, right, whether you like the people that stayed or not for not fighting for the people that got mandated, the 70% had been doing the 100% worth of work for the last 3 years, so they almost got what they sowed, they reaped what they sowed, right, and they're burnt out. And instead of letting the people come back, if they would come back, some did, some won't, go back to their job, we now use what they call RPLs, recognized prior learning certificates, right? We use RPLs to get people in to fast track them, to say how they can get into the country. And some of the things on Fordham's list was a brothel madam, a hairdresser, and a radio presenter, with 3 of the things that you could select as an immigrant to come to the country under a we need these positions quickly.
Well, I know that police force was another one. There's been several articles posted over the last couple of years, pointing out that, hey, if you want to fast track into Australia, as long as you can speak English, if you have any basic law enforcement skills or whatnot, we'll take you. You instantly become a member of the Australian police force, which is astounding because, the people who've lived in this country don't know the fucking laws. I can't imagine that people who lived outside of the country are any more the wiser, but I guess it makes them perfect. And Fordham, it was interesting. I just looked him up just because you said that. And straight away, what's the second thing? August 31st protesters. Who's behind this Australia First rallies? Again, Australia First, trying to put it into this Trumpian campaign. It's we need to deal with these horrible things. I dread to think what he's fucking actually said, and I dare say there won't be.
Well, there's most of the videos going around are an AI, like AI people, right? The AI woman, and so the video that I think he shows is the AI woman speaking and saying, "Is this?" Everyone's saying, "Is this the woman that's behind it?" And I'm like, "It's a fucking AI. It's an AI bot." People don't realize that even on Instagram now, there's AI models that are so good that they've got millions and millions of dollars of followers, and people are following an AI profile, like literally an AI woman.
He's asking the right question. Who is behind this? Who? Because that's the question I asked too. Who started this shit? Like any other time that there's a rally, we know who's done it. We know who started it. We know what's going on. But this is a big mystery, and that's what makes it disturbing.
Yeah, but again, if 100,000 people get together because they think it's against the government, and we've got problems with the country, and we don't know who started it, I look at it like a markets, right? If there's 1,000 markets stalls that are going to be together, and one person starts saying, "I'm not going to these stores because I don't like Jody Lowe," I'm like, well, that's sort of irrelevant to the people that are going to the customers or the service that they want to see. Or I'm not going to have my market in there because I heard that there's people that are going to be selling marijuana seeds down in one of the things down the very back, and that's not what I stand for.
That never used to be a problem, though, did it? It never. Like, at no point did people like you set up a market. Well, I'm not going to be in any marketplace where that guy's selling shit. Like that never happened. At what point did politics become such a fucking thing that I can't sell my bananas next to your corn? What the fuck?
And this is what I'm saying, right? Is that we're so hell-bent on what we won't support that we have forgotten what we should support, which is anybody who's willing to say that the government is fucked. Now we've been better than anybody who've been through the blue flag, red flag argument, right? It's always divisive. Pick it, right? Palestine, Israel, divisive. Black, white, divisive. Vote Liberal, Labor, or freedom movement. Don't vote or vote, right? Divisive.
Yep.
They're very good at what they do when they roll onto it.
Why do we have to pick sides? Exactly.
And that's what I said. Why would I think that my granddad was standing, at the front line, and his sergeant says, "Over we go," and he's like, "Well, mate, I was going to go over, but that guy there's an Aboriginal.
Yeah, well, I can't fight alongside him. Nah.
Oh, I'm not going to fight with an Aboriginal. Why is that?
Yeah.
Well, like I just don't think that's right. And that guy he's Italian. He's he's Italian. That like he only got to Australia in the 30s. Why would I want to fight with him? He's a Dago, and that's not what happens, right? When you worry about winning, the fight, and you get the job done, and then you can maybe punch each other in the mouth at the end of it, but. We're not doing it. And don't get me wrong, I'm just as guilty as it because I feel that there are grifters and shills out there. I feel that there's plants out there. I feel that there's gatekeepers that keep the community of the freedom movement. I tell everybody, do not listen to what I say. Go and have a look at the links that I provide. Do not say that I am trying to be an expert and tell you what to do. Go to the remedy groups that I talk about. They are the people with the most amount of information. Do not do anything that I will not ask you to do anything that I have not yet done myself.
I'm even more irresponsible. I'm like, hey man, I just want to have great yarns and have a think about things and philosophize and dare I say, a couple of sips on the way. Sips, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah,
I don't think any of us have all the answers. It's these conversations that make it happen, and like the whole shutting everything down during COVID was the ultimate demonstration in in that having conversations, going to the pub and talking to people and going, man, do you believe this shit? No, fuck that crap. They didn't want that happening. They didn't know what people actually analyzing things, discussing things. They just wanted you in fear and watching the fear porn on TV. That's all there was.
Mate,
it was heavily demonstrated. So the idea that you can communicate and think and have a conversation is the scariest fucking thing. We don't have to have solutions, but we can, so long as we're looking at it and asking those basic questions, right? Who fucking started this? Hey, it's a wonderful idea. We should wave an Australian flag. Why? What's the motivation? And that. In the meantime, you've got an event going on, which for those who have tuned in, because the numbers are going up, not down, we should probably come back to the real point of why we started this podcast today, really, which is to talk a little bit about this. I mean, I'm all for having a big yarn about this, that, and the other, and I thoroughly enjoy talking to you, man. But we are reaching that point where my bladder is fucking full. And we should probably come back to where we're at because look, I do try to keep it in the 2-hour mark. It is at 2:02. So
all good, brother. I'm ready for bed. I got an early live in the morning anyways.
There you go. We're all on the same page. So September 6th and 7th, new rallies.
People
not
have
so much
spread
rallies. Sorry, wrong word. You get people together and talk about things and ideas. You've got your step-by-step guide. And you want people to come and register. There is the code. Hopefully you can scan that on your screen, ladies and gentlemen. If not, I did post that link earlier. I'll post it again for those. Oh, damn it. It's over the bloody. There it is. I can get it. I'll post that link again into the comments. And for those of you who can't get it via the comments, you can come and find me on Telegram, North Queensland Freedom Network, and it is also pasted there. I probably pasted it more times than I needed to, but it's there nonetheless to jump on and register if you feel like you want to get on board with the things that have been discussed here. I'll let you do the sales pitch from this point.
No, I've just got leverage, right? Like I just showed you, we've got good leverage. So we will support anyone that's working towards any of these issues, right? We're trying to unite this country, and we can continue to argue over the remedy for each of these things. Every one of those lines, there'll be a side or another. But if we forget about the side of cost of living, or is it Liberal going to give you this, Labor's going to give, Pauline Hanson will do this, Ricardo Bozo will give you 2% tax or whatever. None of that will happen until 1 million people or 2 million people stand together and we win the war against these people, right? None of these things will stop because this is a systematic destruction of our country under a Marxist New World Order regime. And it has been a plan that's been going on for a very long time. And like I said about the American Revolution, the Declaration of Independence, the 1215 Magna Carta, all of these documents in our histories are not possible without the strength of the nation of the people standing together, winning or overthrowing the tyranny. And at no time in history has tyranny walked out of its power because someone's issued them with some paperwork.
Yeah.
Never. And so if you consider where you were financially, physically 3 years ago, and then say that, tell me in the future, because if you see down the bottom, if not you, then who? And that's what I say to people. Okay, so if it's not you that's going to fight back with me, who is? Who's going to do the fighting? And if it's not now, because you're a bit busy, you're a bit broke, you're a bit tired, you're a bit stressed, if it's not now, then when? Tell me when I can meet you in the future. Tell me that forecasted time in the future when you've got more money, got more time, got more energy, and I'll meet you there in the future. I'll probably still be doing what I'm doing.
And it's not to say you should pull yourself out of a shitty situation that you can't get out of. Like sometimes you're just drained and you need to take a rest, and that's okay. But, you know, all right. So if not today, then the next time round, because you've done it the first time, doing it a second time, you know, we'll keep going. Just like every month, Jackie is sending these things off. So, all right, cool. You didn't sign it this time. You didn't sign it the last time. It's still there. You can still sign it. You can still get on board. She was saying we're at about 2,500 plus people who have signed to get involved. You know,
it doesn't have to be this though, Batty. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be this. Like, it does not have to be this. This is just me saying, hey, if you want to use some of my leverage for your local groups that don't have big leverage, right? If you want to use some of that leverage, put one of these events on. So the Sovereign Moreton Bay group, 90 members, can't work out how to get people to attend. They can't know how to talk. Robin asked a question before. She said, how do you talk to the public with that deer in the headlight stare? And I'm like, well, I let them tell me what their problem is. So I try and just encourage a conversation, and I'll try and let them tell me what their problem is, right? And once they sort of start telling me that, oh, you know, I haven't been able to fucking, I can barely get to do because of the week. I've got 2 jobs or whatever. And I'm like, yeah, it sucks saying like the government is taxing us 60 cents, you know, and they're like, yeah, it's fucking bullshit. And I'm like, well, did you know? Because that's the lead in, right? But, you know, I go to rallies and groups and meetings all the time. And within 15 seconds of getting there, people are up in my face telling me that Trump's got it all under control and that the White Hats are there, and Derek Johnson said that Executive Order 10001's there, or the Star Seeds are coming soon, and Commander Ashtar is coming down with the Palladians to take over, or, you know, someone's attacking me saying that, you know, like,
everybody can have their own point of view. At the end of the day, I think that the big thing is there is no one answer. There is no one point of view. There's multiple things we need to deal with. There's multiple ways of dealing. Like, you know, even as shitty as our government is, you look at it as a form of a construct. You know, there's a minister for this and a minister for that, and, you know, there's lots of things that need to be dealt with. You know, what works for taxation may not work for warfare. You know, to give an idea. So there's lots of different ideas, lots of different people, lots of different things that need to be dealt with. There is no be all and end all. There is no magic fucking cure. At the end of the day, personally, my opinion is everybody's just got to take a little bit more care to give a shit. Stop looking for leaders and start being a part of the solution. You know, get involved in whatever capacity you can. You know, it's like, if not who, then, you know, whatever. Well, what can you do? Is another point. You know, what are you good at? You know, I mean, fuck, I'm good at sitting in front of a microphone and camera and talking shit. You know, I pick up a guitar every now and then. You know, I mean, shit, I've had so many jobs I've lost count. You know, it astounds me, people who, I'm this, I'm a police officer, or I'm a truck driver, or I'm a this. I don't understand that. It makes no sense to me, because I've been so many different jobs, because I'm like, well, what can I do this week? I hate this job. Fuck that. I'll be this tomorrow. It's not hard. I literally woke up one day and decided I'm going to join the fucking news. I sent them a whole bunch of shit, told them what they needed to hear. Next thing you know, I was a fucking camera operator for the fucking Win TV. Man, it's not hard. Decide what you want to do and do it. But I do have to wrap this up, because otherwise I'm going to need that kitty litter tray we were talking about. So thank you very much for coming on, Jody.
Mops up.
That's it.
Hashtag mops up.
Otherwise, somebody's going to be mopping up after me real soon, my friend. So thanks heaps. One last tips for everybody. Make ship. all coming together in the sake of humanity, for the sake of everybody. We are going to do what we can, the best we can. We're going to keep having these conversations. It's what we know how to do. If you've got an idea, drop us a line, nqfreedomnetwork@protonmail.com. Please don't just sit here and watch the show. Come on, be a part of the show anytime you like. Just drop me a line.
We have frontline positions. We have administration positions. We have, you can be a researcher, you can be a document writer, presenter, you can be a collector, you can be a letterbox dropper, you can be anything you want to be with all of the groups that we've got out there. You just need to be taking part in this battle. Not all of the people can be frontliners, like the people that are in courts, the Heidi Wards and that are in court, at fighting. That's frontline, right? Not all of the people can be the Glenn Fishers fighting the pedophilic war of Sydney, right? But we certainly can do. The thing that makes it dangerous for people like that is standing alone, and we stand behind them. We need to stand beside them so that there is no chink in our armor. There is no weakness in our front line, and that together we will move forward to the country that we deserve to have as being the rightful co-owners of it with the Indigenous of this land.
Exactly. And I look forward to getting our Indigenous brothers and sisters back on this channel as soon as possible. That's for sure. So I'll consider that a bit of a shout out because I know you guys are watching and I can't wait to have you back again. So one final sips, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks heaps for coming on, Jody Lowe.
No worries. Thanks for having me. Thanks everyone from my channel to come over. Make sure you watch Batty on a Friday night.
Thank you very much. And likewise, keep an eye on Jody Lowe.
About 8:15.
Yeah, about 8:15 when old George has finally had his final word. So anyway, all right. Thank you very much, guys.
Thanks, everyone. Cheers all.
Take it easy. Till next time, all you lovely people out there, just be the best person. Well, sorry, not person. Be the best that you can be.